I'm Mark Bell, and I'm going to talk to you about how to be an inventor. Over the years, I've had people ask me many questions about business. How are we able to do this while you're doing that? How are we able to, create this product and that product? And, how do you hire? How do you fire? How do you this or that with your company? Admittedly, I don't have a lot of answers to those things, but they're things that I've learned over the years. There's things that I've kind of grown into over the years. There's things that I definitely didn't know in the beginning, but there's things that I learned along the way. Probably the most important thing for most of you to embrace is to really have an open mind. Because when you have an open mind, and when you have a mind that asks questions, it keeps the mind open and allows the mind to expand, and it allows you to be accepting of ideas, concepts, criticism, conjecture, other people's knowledge, other people's wisdom, other people's courage, other people's inspiration, along with the things that come from yourself, the things that come from your family. When you're closed-minded and you make a lot of statements that are closed off, I'll give you an example. Oh shit, it's, tomorrow's Monday. I'm not much of a Monday person. Oh man, it's 9:30 and I'm not home yet. I probably won't get to bed till like 11:30. And there's a lot of work to be done this Monday, and you're building up a lot of anxiety. You're having a lot of unhelpful talk to yourself, a lot of negative talk. You go to get to bed by 11:30. And because you're anxious, you don't get to bed till 12:30 or 1. You wake up a little bit late the next day. You don't follow the nutrition plan that you wanted to do. You skip out on a lot of the things that you said you were going to do. You're supposed to drive your kid to school or spend a little time with the family in the morning, and all those things got stuffed to the side because you didn't get your sleep, and now you're in a rush. A lot of times we get closed-minded. A lot of times we think that we're this way. Oh, I'm not a morning person. Saying you're not a morning person, saying that you have a hard time handling Mondays, these are all statements that you make about yourself. And when you make a statement, it solidifies it into your thought process, and it becomes part of you. As opposed to saying, I kind of struggle in the morning, I wonder what I could do to be a little bit better. That's a question. The question is going to lead you to a journey. The journey is going to lead you to start to find some answers. Those answers are going to teach you that you know very little about the topic that you're exploring. Because as you start to dig deeper, you're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. 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 And it happens over and over again. As you start to do this more and more in your life, you recognize you're kind of nothing. You're not much without this open-minded mentality. Because when your mind is closed off, you're not going to be able to receive new ideas. You're not going to be able to create new knowledge. All human beings possess an amazing ability. And it's the ability to create new knowledge. And it happens through criticism and conjecture and kind of poking holes in your original thought processes. We have complete control, complete agency over how we think and what we think. We have so much control over that, and we don't recognize it. You don't always have control over the thoughts that enter your mind. And I'll give you an example of it. If I said, giant pink dildo, you can't unthink that. It popped into your head. You now have a visual. You had to think that. You had to have a thought around that. So there's things that enter the subconscious mind, but the things that we consciously think about and our reactions to the things that come through, that's up to you. Like someone might be like, I can't believe he said giant pink dildo. Somebody else might think, oh, that's kind of funny, because it's all open to interpretation. What does this have to do with invention? What does this have to do with creation? In my opinion, it has everything to do with it. Because why was it Why was it that Albert Einstein, I believe he was pulling away from a train station when he looked at a light, and his interpretation of that, from what I can remember, and you guys that are fans of this, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that's where he kind of started to think about E equals MC squared. How do you get that from being on a train pulling away from a light? Well, Albert Einstein, A, he's a genius, but B, he also was questioning the universe. And he also had questions. He's also somebody that was probably very accepting of new ideas and new concepts. Would we agree that Elon Musk is probably similar that way? We would have to agree that Jeff Bezos is probably that way. We'd have to agree that a lot of these people that look like they figured things out in a much different way, Nikola Tesla, right? These must have been people that had a lot of questions. And Nikola Tesla and some of these guys, they're people that they had a lot of questions. They went down a journey, they went down a certain path, and as they went down that certain path, even though they were genius, they were accepting of the fact that, man, all my theories and all this stuff that I think, this weirdness I got going on in my brain, I could literally be a madman. I could have a mind that's maddening, and I could be way off for all I know. Luckily, in most cases, a lot of these guys were right, and a lot of their theories were true. So when it comes to innovation, it comes to creation, we all possess the ability to do this stuff. How can you become an inventor? Question the knowledge. Question what's going on. Can there be a better way? Question your shoes. Question your socks. Question your shirt. Question your TV, your alarm clock, your coffee mug, your coffee maker, the coffee beans, the coffee grinds, the coffee grinder, the shake, the blender, a shaker cup, your refrigerator, your freezer, how we get stuff delivered to us, our food supply, planes, trains, automobiles. Hey, what's better to teach people, hey, you can't use modern technology while you're driving? Or is it better just to completely eliminate driving and have the car drive you? What is the job that you currently have? Are you a real estate broker? Are you an insurance agent? What do you do? How could that be better? How could that be different? How about this? Here's a great example. What about being a trademark attorney and a patent attorney? What about cutting out the middleman? And what about firing yourself from your own job and eliminating that job? Mark Smelly Bell, God damn it, would you just tell us what you're talking about? It's called LegalZoom, you dumbasses, right? You ever seen LegalZoom before? LegalZoom.com, you can find out about trademarking, and you can find out about patents on your own. It eliminates the need to even have an attorney. And because it does that, it creates a tremendous financial gain for somebody, whoever owns that website. What are the things that you do? What do you enjoy? You enjoy rock climbing, you enjoy skiing, you enjoy snowmobiles, is there a better way to have a snowmobile? Is there a better way to enjoy rock climbing? What if there's some sort of way that older, or maybe people that aren't as strong, can enjoy rock climbing, where you can figure out some sort of mechanism or thing that allows for people to have 10% of their body weight taken off of them through whatever device it is that you made. Maybe people can enjoy themselves more. Maybe you lower the barrier of entry into that particular sport or that particular activity. When it comes to invention, I want you to start to think about, let's just go very, very simple. What are the things, what do you do every day, and what do you use every day? You might be thinking, well, I get up in the morning and I do some push-ups and squats and I stretch a little bit. That's my routine. I'm kind of a minimalist. I don't really do a whole lot. Okay, well, is there a better way to do a push-up? You ever seen the perfect push-up? It's a device that raises you off the ground, gives you a better stretch in the pectorals, your hands go a certain way, and now you're able to do a push-up in a different way. You ever seen the Slingshot? Slingshot allows you to draw your elbows in tight and allows you to do a push-up in a very safe fashion, and helps so that you can do more reps for more sets and get more work in a particular workout, get more volume in. What did I always love to do? What was I always good at? I've been really gifted to be able to be a strong bench presser. I don't really know why. That's what I was gifted at, and it brought me all over the world, and it brought me millions of dollars, and I came up with an invention through bench pressing. I bench pressed so much I tore my pec and became an inventor through that process. Because I was like, man, I messed up my pec, and I still want to train bench, and I still want to do these things. I still want to be successful, but now I can't be. And then I'd hear other people say, yeah, man, I used to bench too, but I hurt my shoulder. Somebody else said, oh, I used to bench 405. I'm always like, yeah, sure you did. I used to bench 405 too, bro. But, my elbow's not the same as it used to be. And then I always thought about, like, why are there all these used to be people? Well, why can't they still do it? There's got to be a way to still do it. And then I was thinking, well, maybe, if we can figure out something to assist them, maybe they can still do it. After getting hurt a couple times and still wanting to train and still wanting to be competitive, the first time I tore my pec, it took me from a 705-pound bench press to an 854-pound bench press. The second time that I tore my pec, it took me from a 535 raw bench press to a 578 bench press. And also in that process, it took me to the invention of the Slingshot. Because after I was chasing that 578, I tried to bench 600 pounds and I tore my pec again. What if I said to myself, though, what if I made a statement that was closed off? And I said, I'm not cut out to bench press 600 pounds because every time I increase my bench press, I tear my pec. What if I told myself, you know what, Mark, you've been doing this for a long time, bro, and you're very injury prone. No, instead, I thought to myself, I still believe in my heart that I have a chance, that I have an opportunity to do this 600 pounds. It's just a math equation. It's just an equation. I can figure it out. I believe that all problems are solvable, all of them. Hunger, racism, viruses, cancer, diabetes, heart disease. I believe that all problems are solvable, and they're simply a case of not having acquired enough knowledge at the moment. Because we used to not even be able to meet Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now the hierarchy of needs are met with ease every day, and now we complain that our Wi-Fi is too slow. But we used to die of hunger often. People still do in the world. We used to die of it being too cold. People still die of it being too cold. We used to die from it being too hot. People still die of that. But the numbers are ridiculously way lower than what they used to be. Those things used to impact and negatively affect everyone to the point where they couldn't think about anything else. Nowadays, all of our needs are met and then some, so we have the ability to be creative and to think about what it is that we want to do with ourselves. What are the things that we want to do? What are the things that we can do? What are the things that we can be in control of? For those of you that lost your job during the pandemic, or those of you that know someone that lost their job during the pandemic, be very encouraging of them, or be very encouraging of yourself. And just think about this as a really wonderful opportunity. Interpret it as a green light, and not a yellow light, and not a red light. Interpret it as not only a green light, but an opportunity to speed up. Because that job was probably slowing you down anyway. Because most likely, most jobs I see people in, it's very hard for people to be creative in these jobs. They're stifling. There's too many other things to worry about. There's too many deadlines. There's too many rules. There's too many regulations. You can't say this. You can't say that. You can't do this. You can't do that. But you want to be in an environment where the main goal is that the best idea wins. Who's got the best idea? Does the best idea have to come from the boss? No, it doesn't have to come from the boss. The best idea can come from anybody in the company. Whether it's someone who cleans the bathroom, somebody that makes a social media post, whether it's the person in charge of shipping and receiving, whether it's a photographer, videographer, the best ideas can come from anywhere. Because all it takes to create new knowledge is some criticism. Who do you know that can't criticize something? Who do you know that doesn't possess the ability to look at something and have critical thinking and to have, you want effective criticism. You don't want someone just shooting stuff out of the sky. Any fool can do that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about constructive criticism. Something that can allow you to construct something bigger, better, stronger, faster than ever before. Somebody who just shoots something down, that's going to allow you to build something on a thing of popsicle sticks, and it's going to fold and crash, right? That's not going to work very well. We need constructive criticism. Things that can really help propel and shoot us forward. But those things can come from anywhere. You have more innovation, more creation, you have more knowledge, you have more heart, you have more spirit, you have more motivation than you can possibly imagine. You may have just not tapped into it just yet. I used to seek out motivation. I used to look for it, and it would work here and there. I was doing my bodybuilding show. I was at the end of my rope, and I would type in bodybuilding motivation because I was hitting that Stairmaster all the time. And it worked, but it was a short period of time. I can't go back and look at that bodybuilding motivation stuff to get me fired up to go do cardio. At the moment, I'm working on doing stuff that's a longer play. That's for the long haul. Motivation is fleeting, and it only represents a tiny bit of propulsion that you can utilize to create inertia for a particular moment. But it doesn't last. It's not very sustainable. We need stuff that's sustainable. What's sustainable is inspiration, and what's sustainable is to have open-ended questions about yourself. I always thought I was dumb. But ultimately, who's responsible for me being dumb? Me. It was fucking stupid for me to ever think that I was dumb. Why? It came from a couple of teachers. They never really said that I was dumb. I was just put in classrooms where kids needed more help. My interpretation of that was shitty. It was wrong. It was false. Because I wasn't in a classroom with other kids, with some of my friends, I took that as, oh, you're dumber than everybody else. You can't learn the same way. And so now you're in these, as they called them at the time, other kids would make fun and they'd say, retard classes. I was in these resource rooms. And it didn't really have the same type of classes as everybody else. I just had a teacher there that would basically help me with all my different subjects that I had. But really, my interpretation of it could have been, you know what, Mark? Just like when you go to run on the playground and you play tag, people are going to be able to chase you and they're going to be able to tag you. That doesn't mean I'm a piece of shit because I can't avoid someone tagging me. It just means that this other kid's a little bit quicker than me at the moment. And that's okay. It's okay. You're going to have strengths in your life, and you're going to have some things that you might interpret as being weaknesses of yours. But I was just a kid, and that line of thought paralyzed me. The people that are listening to this right now, you're not kids. So wake the fuck up. Now is the time. Now is the time for you to get it. The world was on pause, and half the world is still paused because of some of the things that happened during COVID-19. This is a wonderful time for you to move and for you to be nimble and for you to make aggressive moves towards the things that you've always wanted to do. There's absolutely no reason why you can't be an inventor. There's no reason why you can't have a creation. I am in full belief that anyone can be an inventor. I happen to be very fortunate that my invention was small and lightweight and doesn't cost anything to make. And so therefore mass production of it wasn't hard. I wasn't trying to make a car or a helicopter or a technology piece. Those things would be way more complicated. But still, if you keep asking questions instead of closing off your mind, my story should have been done a long time ago. Because technically, I thought I was dumb. I thought I couldn't learn things. And I, like a lot of other people, made statements about myself that were misconceptions and that were with a period at the end. Mark, You are too dumb to learn that. Period. Don't try to get a job at that place. Don't try to get a job at the movie theater. You'll fuck it up. Don't try to get a job over there at the grocery store because you're not good at math. You're not going to be able to figure that out. You're going to mess up the cash register. You're going to get in trouble. These are all thoughts that I made up to things that never even happened. Oh man, they're going to think you're really stupid if you go to work there. How do I know? I never even fucking tried. I never even gave myself a shot. It's completely ridiculous. Now, if I was talking to a kid who felt this way, you know, I would have some empathy for them, but I would also talk them through it and say, hey man, we don't know if any of that's true because, you know, quite frankly, you haven't done it yet. So let's see what you could do. There's one last thing I want to share with you. It might take me a second to find it on my phone. I do not know how to say this, but I'm going to take a stab at it. I think it's Ikigai, it's called. Ikigai. Ikigai, it's in the middle. It's this thing that's stuck in the middle. And what it's in the middle of, what are you good at? What can you make money with? What does the world need? And what do you love? It's at the intersection of all those things. I've had employees come to me before and they said, you know, I don't know what my purpose is. 6 months later, they came back to me and they're like, hey, I found it. I said, that's great. What is it? They said, this is my purpose. I said, well, what are you talking about? They said, this is it right here. This is what I'm doing. I'm like, Slingshot is your life purpose? Working for me is your life purpose? And they said, no, it's not about that. It's about working for this company that has a crazy amount of momentum. And it's about working for this company that is getting your message out there to the world. And it's about transferring our knowledge, our joy for fitness, our mission to make the world a better place to live. All I want to do is be part of that and help the company elevate. So even within the confines of somebody else's idea, somebody else's concept that they're super passionate about, you can have that same feeling if the job is right for you. So my question is, with what you're currently doing, with what you're currently making money at, do you feel that that can pay into your life's purpose? Do you feel that can pay into your reason for being? If it doesn't, you probably need to start to find things that start to match up with what are you good at? What does the world need? What can you get paid for? And is it something that you love? If it's something that you love, there's no time constraints on it. If it's something that you love, you're going to be working at it and working towards it your whole life. This idea of invention, this idea of creation has been something I've been working on for a very long time. And guess what? Because I've been hanging out in that space for a long time, I've only gotten better at it. I feel like, and maybe some of you may disagree with me, but I have tons of confidence in myself. I feel like I'm the Elon Musk of the fitness industry with all the different creations, with all the different things. There's things right now that you guys don't even know about that we're about to launch, that we're about to release. And it's not another knee sleeve, it's not another elbow sleeve, it's not a bench shirt, it's not a squat suit. It's something you've never seen before. And it actually is completely it's very much unrelated to the things you've seen in the past from us. And there's even ideas beyond that, that if I'm one day bold enough and brave enough and crazy enough, I might just act on it. But those things will be released at some other time. But right now, we have the Within You products coming, the Steak Shake. No one's ever done anything like the Steak Shake before. You can point to this company and you can point to that company and say, oh, this guy's done this or that guy's done that. I don't want to hear it because no one's done it. No one's done what I'm doing. And no one's done exactly what we're going to be working on over the next couple of years here at Slingshot World Headquarters. The stuff that we're going to do, the success that we're going to have is not going to be matched by anybody else in the fitness industry for a really long time. And no one will probably really notice it until I'm dead, until I die from it. The reason why I say that is the ideas and creations that we have coming up, they end up hitting a different category than anything you've seen before. The Slingshot, from a technical perspective, in terms of it being imported into the United States, they didn't know what to label it. They're like, it's not a protein bar, it's not a protein shake, so it's not a supplement. They're like, but it's also not a squat rack. Like, it's not a dumbbell, it's not a this, it's not a that. And so it literally has its own product category, which I'm sure other people have been able to use that product category name just to categorize their item with shipping and importing and so forth, to get the message across of what their product actually is. This product is of that nature. It's a category, not even a category disruptor. It's something of a new category creation altogether. These things don't happen by accident. They happen through practice. They happen through asking questions. As I said earlier, my story technically should have been done a long time ago, because I agreed with some of the test scores I got. I agreed with some of the trouble I had in school, and I said, you know what, all these things that you're seeing, those are indications that you're dumb, and so therefore let's just stick that label on the front here and maybe stick it on the back there, and just walk around like you're stupid all the time, because that's what you believe and that's what you said about yourself. Instead, I could have very easily looked at that and said, this is a really great advantage and a great opportunity to be in the resource room, whatever the heck that means. But it's a room of resources, right? I have extra teachers here. There's more teachers per student than there is in a regular classroom. Regular classroom, you got like 40 kids and you got one teacher. In these classes, I had 5 or 6 other people in there with me, with usually 2 people helping out at the same time. And the 2 people that were helping out were oftentimes helping out with unconventional thought and not traditional, just flat out education. And so we would talk about math, and we would go through some of the things, because they had particular subjects that they had to assist me with and help me with. But they would also, like if I was looking out the window, they'd say, hey Mark, what do you see out there? And I was like, it looks like it's really nice out there today. And they would say, it is really nice out. You want to go outside? And I'd be like, I didn't talk. I'd be like, that big smile on my face. We'd go outside, throw the football around for a minute, or do whatever it is that I wanted to do. And they were like, you ready to go back inside? And I'd be, kick the football around, throw it up in the air a little bit more. You ready to go inside? And then just whenever I was go inside, then we would get back to work, and we'd get back to doing the things that we were supposed to be doing for the day. But they would also have some unconventional stuff with me, and they would ask different questions. They would say, you know, if they said, hey, what color is the sky? I'd say, hey, well, it just depends on the day. It could be blue, it could be yellow, it could be red, it could be white, it could be gray, it could be a lot of clouds in the sky, it could be dark, it could be whatever. And they would say, that's absolutely correct. They're like, what color is it now? And I would say, well, it's pretty blue, you know, it's got some gray in it. Whereas before, when I was in conventional classes and I said those kinds of things when I was younger, they thought I needed like special help, because they were like, why can't he just say the sky is blue like everybody else? But my brain didn't work like everybody else. And imagine how empowering it would have been at that young age. I wouldn't change anything, but imagine how empowering it could have been if someone said, you know what? We're really onto something here. This is magnificent. Your brain works different than everybody else in this school, it appears. That's awesome. And that might be, you know, let's pay attention to that, because you might have, this might be like a, you know, they tell you when you're a little kid, this might be like a superpower that you have. Then I'd be all pumped up about it, rather than feeling ashamed of it, rather than like, you know, I remember just not even wanting to show family members my report card and stuff, because traditional classes that might be on other kids' report cards at that age, I just wasn't in any of those classes. I didn't take a language, I didn't play an instrument. Those things weren't available to me. They were like, he has enough trouble with the English language, and he has enough trouble with math. Let's not throw anything else different at him. But really, if you think about it, someone that's unconventional thought like that, it would have been interesting to see what may have possibly happened if I was able to do some of those other things. I am constantly working on myself. I'm always working on reinterpreting the information that I get. I'm working on getting rid of certain words in my language. I try to work out the word try. I try to get rid of that, or work on getting rid of that. I work on getting rid of should've, would've, could've's. I'm always working on just taking full blame for everything right here. It's all on me. My kid does something wrong, or I act inappropriately and say something weird that I didn't mean to say. I don't go back and try to backtrack and all that shit. I just say, oh my God, like what I said, what I did was wrong. You know, I messed that up. I screwed that up. I'm working on being better. I'm working on being better in every aspect of my life that I could possibly handle. Working on my sleep, working on my nutrition, working on my body, working on my relationships, working on business. And when you get a lot of practice at these things, you get to be very good at it. So you want to be an inventor, you want to make $1 million, it takes, remember this number, 2740. Try this out, 2740 times 365. Where does that take you to? That's what you need to make, $2,740. How's that for some fucking math, right? 2740, I figured that out about 8 years ago. And since that point, I've been on a mission, become a millionaire. 2740, you can break that down whatever way you want. You want to make $100,000 in a year, do $274, I think, a day, and it works out to be 100K or something like that. Anyway, do the math on that and you'll see what I'm talking about. It works with just some extra zeros on it, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Innovation and creation is within all of us. It's right inside of you. It's right there. It's ready to be had. I love what Joe Rogan talks about when he talks about how he believes ideas are things that populate our earth, and these are things that can come to you, but they're never ever going to land on you. They won't land on you. They won't come to you. They'll only come to you if you're accepting of them. They will only come to you when you ask questions. You need to ask. I think it's my boy Jim Rohn, I always talk about it quite a bit. He said, he was talking about the Bible. One of the main things in the Bible is, so let's just forget about whether your thoughts on religion. How can you receive something? Well, giving is one way. That's a pretty good answer. But asking is the way to get something. Ask questions. You want to be leaner? Ask questions on it. You want to be bigger? Ask questions on it. You want to be stronger? Ask some questions. You want to be wealthier? Ask some questions. You want to be smarter? Ask a lot of questions. Ask, and you shall receive. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch you guys later.